Yes, Wim Dijkgraaf here. Quotation Factory with an announcement of a new feature available to all our users. Actually available since probably last week, the end of last week. I think it was released. It is about the sequence of the working steps within routes. So previously and also currently, you can influence the sequence of the working steps in a route in the settings of a resource, and that those settings are used in the logic in the integration with your ERP system. So in the user interface of Quotation Factory, you don't see any specific order or sequence of working steps. It's in random order, and only when the quotation or the order is synchronized or sent to the ERP system, then the integration was and is responsible for the order of the working steps. Okay, what we have been working on is a vision about routes and especially route granularity. I have to go into too much details to explain it right now, but you will receive more and more information in the next coming months when we are implementing the routes the way we think routes should work within Quotation Factory. But what I'm going to show you now is that in the new release, since the new release, working steps within a route, you can change the order of those working steps. Let me add the application and let me remove the branding. That's a bit too much. I have prepared a geometry here, so let's upload that and see what happens. I upload this geometry now without any new settings. So what should happen now is the old behavior that you are used to. And what you see is that here the working steps are shown in a specific order, and here as well. The order up to now, we didn't care about the order because for the quotation process itself, the order doesn't influence pricing. But of course, sheet cutting and engraving probably will be done on one and the same machine. We will start naming that a multifunctional machine, and you will also see that in the nearby future. And we would expect that sheet bending was the last working step in this sequence. In addition to that, for example, if we add countersinking, now you see that countersinking is added at the end of the sequence, while countersinking probably would be performed before the sheet bending working step. The same with, for example, deburring. If I add that, you see things are added here in alphabetical order, but here in the order in which they were added. So this is the last item in the sequence. Well, if you go to routes now, you see arrows indicating an order. What you can do now is you can drag and drop this to where you want it to be. When I drop it over here, you will notice that an error is raised or an error is shown. Working step deburring could not be moved to routing order. And why is that? That is because we have introduced a new concept named route sequences that you can edit here under settings. You go to Virtual Factory, capabilities, route sequences. And you see that this list is empty. Let me add a new route. Another good terminology here would be a route template. So let's call this the default sheet cutting route. Now I can configure this route. Sheet cutting, for example, engraving, sheet bending, countersinking. What deburring was the other one? Deburring. As an example, I can move these to the right order. So I want deburring. I could put deburring here, but probably you want to do deburring after the countersinking working step. So this is the correct order. I press save and I go back to the demo project. I go to the bill of materials. Let's remove this. You see that nothing has changed here. It's still in the order, in the previous order. Let me remove this. And let's upload that same geometry again, and let's see what happens. So again, the analysis kicks in, and we will see the working steps found in the geometry. And now you see that here they are in the correct order, or the order as indicated by the route template, sheet cutting, engraving, sheet bending, and also over here you see the right order. If I go to routes, I see that same order. If I change this to this, it's not possible because that's not within the constraints set up by the route template. Now let's see what happens if we add, for example, countersinking. Here you see that in this list, it is added in alphabetical order. So I've added countersinking. Let me also add deburring. If I do save, then you see that the order of these working steps is exactly as indicated by the template. And if I go to routes, you see that same order. If I try to change this order, it's not allowed because it doesn't fit within one of the several route templates configured. Now, last scenario, let's suppose that I add drilling. Drilling is not part of, so here it is again displayed in alphabetical order. And here now you see drilling is added at the end of the sequence because it's not configured in the template at all, which also means that you are flexible or allowed to change this to whatever position you want this to be done, even as a first in the sequence, which probably doesn't make sense, of course. It could be something like this: drilling, countersinking, deburring, and then that. Okay, that's the new feature. So you are allowed to configure as many templates as you want, creating more templates and also more elaborated templates. So with a lot of working steps, makes the system less flexible, but will automate all kind of allowed route or working step sequences. You can also create a basic set, and therefore you create a lot of flexibility for the remaining working steps. So you can decide yourself how far you want to go with this. One thing to take care of is the following. As in my introduction, I told is that route, the order of working steps in a route were configured at resource level. Let me show you that. And previously, only the ERP integration technology took that into account. Sorry, here, for example. So if I go to sheet cutting, I open a configuration, then let me see where it is. Yeah, here. External sequence numbers. So for every activity like loading, sheet cutting, unloading, these external sequence numbers are configurable. And that's not only for the detailed, that doesn't influence only the order of this mini activity, but also the order of the complete route. So if you start this with 1 and all the other working steps with a sequence with a natural number higher than that, then sheet cutting will always be at the front of the sequence. So this was the way to influence the order in which the working steps were put in a route when synchronizing to ERP. So now we have also sequences in Quotation Factories itself. We haven't been able to test this with every of the many ERP integration technology we have. So please don't remove all these sequence numbers here. Please contact customer success first if for your situation this new feature is relevant. Then before you remove all these sequence numbers, let's check with our ERP integration partner if this works properly with your ERP system. If not, then the third party has to do a little bit of work. We have to create a new version of the integration. Theoretically, it should work with any of the ERP integrations, but theory, the devil is always in the details, so theory is not always what happens in practice. So please contact customer support for help implementing these sequences. We hope this is a valuable additional feature. Under the hood, we are really working on the many more things that are capabilities we will have with routes. So in a couple of next videos, I will explain the vision about route granularity with outsourced work, with features versus how you how you manufacture a feature. But all the details will be presented in separate videos. I hope this was inspiring, helpful, and we are happy to be able to keep improving the platform. Okay, have a really nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.